With the whole talk I've been having about having children in a marriage, there's a difference in the experience when you have children in a healthy marriage versus children out of wedlock. And I find that in comments, people really don't see the difference when there's definitely a difference. There's a difference in even how the children are planned and conceived, as well as how things operate. Okay, so everybody keeps saying, you're still going to end up in a broken home if the marriage don't work. Again, we all know that's possible. But one of the main things is when children are born in a marriage, it was never a question, but more of an expectation. Okay, versus children that were born out of wedlock typically were not planned, nor were they expected. Let's be clear. There's a difference in how children are conceived in a marriage versus out of wedlock. In a marriage, they're expected. Out of wedlock, they're not expected. The other thing, typically in broken situations, the mother is going to have the child majority of the time, which means the dad is going to be part-time, okay? So out of wedlock children get part-time non-custodial parents, okay? There's a difference versus children born in a two-parent household, okay? They're getting access to both parents equally, okay? That's another difference. Women are okay with having their child having 24/7 access to them and are okay with having part-time fathers, okay? When you decide to have children out of wedlock, that's what comes with that territory. Versus having children in a marriage, in a healthy marriage, the kids get just as much access to the father as they do the mother, which is how it should be. Okay, they need influence from both. In situations where, one parent is, not in the home or whatever, you can only be the best part-time parent you can be because you're not physically there, when you have children out of wedlock, when you have children that you're not, in a relationship with. So again, it's the impact of it. Secondly, the child that's born out of wedlock has to go between homes, in a blended, situation. They're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth between, different homes. So they have to learn how to adapt and operate in those separate environments, right? Versus children who only have one home, who are born in a committed relationship, there is no back and forth. Okay, they have stability in one place. They don't have to go nowhere to be able to have access to both parents. Okay, again, there is a difference in how you bring children into this world. Even as a mom, it's a different experience when you have a baby by somebody that wants to be committed to you and wants you to have their baby, okay? When I had my children, I was on my husband's medical insurance. I didn't have to pay a dime to have any of my kids, okay? Didn't have to pay a dime. It was all covered under his insurance. And my thing is, if I'm about to deliver your child, sir, I need to be able to be covered, on your insurance to do that. I think that's fair, right? And there was no question. There was no question. That just kind of comes automatic versus a woman who's having a baby by a man don't want to have nothing to do with her. Sis, you on your own. And you're probably either using your insurance, if you have any, or your parents' insurance, okay? Again, then you also have the support of the father, throughout the pregnancy and throughout the child rearing. In a situation where a child is born in wedlock, sis, you're by yourself outside of the part-time help that the dad does, okay? So again, y'all are actually settling for an experience that's not the most beneficial for you as a mother and for the child, period. Yes, you can make the best of a situation, but again, we shortchange these kids by deciding that it's okay for them to be without a parent on a consistent basis. So I know people are going to come on here and say the same thing can happen in a marriage, and yes, you are absolutely correct. If people decide not to stay married and they get a divorce, it can definitely happen in a marriage. But this is why I promote marriage and staying married, and I feel like people need to pick better partners, make better decisions. When you get married, you don't have to have kids right away. Be married for a little bit, feel each other out and see if this is a person that you really want to seal the deal with a child. Like, we're just such in a hurry to do everything, right? And when we make careless decisions on how we bring kids in the world, or once we bring them in the world, and then we make decisions based on our individual happiness, the kids are inconvenienced the most. The kids are inconvenienced the most. The thought is, oh, they'll be all right. We can just share custody. But nobody ever really thinks what that feels like or looks like for the child that actually has to live it. And I think that's what gets lost in translation when people are so focused on their individual happiness. When you get married, the point is to stay married. Period.